السلام عليكم يا شباب، اهلا بكم في قناه مستر وائل الساينس. ابنائي وبناتي طلبه الصف الخامس الابتدائي الترم الثاني، هنحل النهارده بعض الاسئله على يونت 4 كونسبت 41 ليسون 4 اللي كان بعنوان جرافيتي اند لو اوف موشن. ان شاء الله تكونوا ذاكرتوا الدرس وتحلوا كلكم الاسئله بصوره صحيحه. اتفضلوا يا شباب، تشوز ذا كوريكت انسر. فريكشن فورس سبيس ذا موفمنت اوف اوبجكت، يا ترى سلو داون ولا انكريزز ولا سبيدز اب ولا doesn't affect؟ اجابتنا سلوز داون. Magnetism is a force that attract object made of the following materials except iron ولا نيكل ولا wood ولا cobalt. إجابتنا wood. The force that opposes the movement of object as they pass through air is known as magnetism ولا gravity ولا electric ولا air resistance. إجابتنا air resistance. All the following senses show the effect of gravity except the moon orbits the earth, the planet orbits the sun, the atmosphere is kept around earth, the repulsion between two magnets. دي ملهاش علاقة بالجرافيتي وإجابتنا دي. Space is considered as a type of friction force. Air resistance ولا magnetism ولا gravity ولا electric force. إجابتنا air resistance. Which of the following objects has the least أقل attraction force؟ المون ولا الإيرث ولا الصن ولا المagnet؟ اللي ليه أقل attraction force هو المagnet. What is the effect of air resistance on the speed of an object when it falls downward due to gravity؟ يا ترى الاير ريزيستنس هتعمل ايه؟ air resistance speed up the object as it falls ولا air resistance doesn't affect the speed of an object as it falls ولا air resistance slow an object as it falls ولا air resistance it changes the direction of an object as it falls؟ إجابتنا إن ال air resistance slow an object as it falls. When a basketball falls down from a height, it is affected by air resistance force only, gravity force only, air resistance and gravity force, air resistance and electric force. إجابتنا air resistance and gravity force. If there is no air resistance on Earth and we drop an iron cube and wooden cube at the same time from the same height, they will reach the floor at the same moment, reach the floor at different time, be affected by magnetic force during falling, move upward against gravity force. إجابتنا reach the floor at the same moment. Space is a factor that act against gravity force. Magnetism ولا mass of an object ولا air resistance ولا shape of an object. إجابتنا air resistance. If you have two pieces of wood which are different in surface area, which one of them will reach the ground first? If we drop both of them from the same height, the piece of wood with larger surface area ولا the piece of wood with a smaller surface area? The two pieces of wood will reach the ground at the same moment. One piece of wood will reach the ground while the other move upward. اللي هيوصل الأول البيس of wood اللي ليها small surface area. Which of the following object will take longer time to reach the ground if they are dropped from 5-meter height at the same time? An iron nail, a feather, a pencil, a paper clip. اللي هياخد وقت أطول هو الفيزر. Put true or false. Gravity is not affected by the mass of an object. الكلام ده wrong. Gravity of Earth doesn't change the direction of a body that is thrown up into air. الكلام ده wrong. Earth pull living organism only toward its center. Only دي خلت الكلام ده wrong. Force of gravity can be seen easily but we can't see its effect. الكلام ده wrong. العكس هو اللي صح. When using the bicycle brake, the bicycle stop due to the friction force between the brake and the tire. الكلام ده true. Magnetism is a type of friction force. الكلام ده wrong. Skydiving sport depend on gravity force and air resistance force. الكلام ده true. Friction force opposes the movement of an object. الكلام ده true. Air resistance slow down the speed of parachutes. الكلام ده true. Magnetism is the force that attracts some metals. الكلام ده true. Air resistance is a factor that speed up the falling object toward Earth. الكلام ده wrong. All objects on Earth's surface are affected by gravity force which pull object downward. الكلام ده true. There is no air in space, so air resistance slow down the movement of objects through space. الكلام ده wrong. هو مفيش air في السبيس، فهيبقى في منين air resistance في السبيس؟ If there is no air resistance on Earth, all objects will reach the Earth's surface at the same moment when dropping them from the same height. الكلام ده true according to the law of motion. Air resistance force act in the opposite direction of gravity force. الكلام ده true. Objects that have larger surface area reach the Earth's surface before objects that have a small surface area due to the effect of air resistance which affect their movement. الكلام ده wrong. Air resistance is a type of friction force. الكلام ده true. Complete the following sentences. An object with more mass that pull another object with less mass has a force known as gravity. A magnet has a space force, magnetic force, that affect and pull metal object toward it. A parachute in air is affected by air resistance that act against the space force of Earth, gravity force of Earth. A person can control the speed of his bike by using a brake to slow down its movement. The force that arises between the bicycle brake and the tire is called friction force, which slows down the movement of the bicycle. Air resistance is a type of space force, is a type of friction force. The direction of a space force opposite the direction of a body moves through air. أدام قال air يبقى the direction of air resistance force. The attraction force between the sun and the earth is space than that between earth and the moon because the sun has أكيد الsun has bigger mass والattraction force اللي between الsun والearth هتبقى greater than اللي between الearth والmoon. Write the scientific term of each of the following. The force that slow down the movement of objects through air تبقى air resistance. The force by which metals are attracted or pulled to a magnet اسمها magnetism, a type of friction force that opposes the movement of an object as it passes through air, air resistance. The tool that is used by skydivers to slow his drop الإجابة parachute. Give reason for. Skydivers open his parachute during landing in order to increase surface area, in order to increase air resistance, to decrease speed, to land safely. Give reason. When you press the bicycle brake, its speed will decrease until it stops after few seconds due to friction force which originated between the bicycle brake and the tire, and this force opposes the force of motion. Give reason for. Some iron nails are attracted to magnet due to magnetism. Give reason for. Air resistance affects the movement of an object which fall from a height because air resistance force opposes the gravity force in its action. Give reason for. A paper sheet takes longer time to reach the Earth's surface than a paper clip if they are thrown from the same height because the surface area of the paper sheet is larger than the surface area of paper clip, and by increasing the surface area the air resistance increase, so the speed decreased. What happens to planet if the gravity of the sun disappears? The planet will float in space. What happens to the speed of skydivers if he open his parachute during landing? His speed will decrease. What happens to the gravity pulling force between two bodies when their masses decrease? The gravity pulling force will decrease. What happens if a metal ball and a feather are falling down from a tower? The metal ball will reach the ground faster than the feather. What happens if you throw two iron balls have the same mass from the same height? They will reach the ground at the same time. What happens if there is no air resistance and two objects with different masses are thrown from the same height? They will reach the ground at the same time. Look at the opposite picture, then answer. Put true or false. When a skydiver open his parachute, the air resistance increase. الكلام ده true. Air resistance opposes the movement of a skydiver when he open his parachute. الكلام ده true. Choose the correct answer. The force of space pull the skydiver down toward the surface of Earth. يا ترى الفورس of air resistance ولا الجرافيتي ولا المagnetic field ولا المagnetism؟ إجابتنا gravity. The force of space decreases the speed of landing of skydiver. يا ترى المagnetism ولا المagnetic field ولا الاير ريزيستنس ولا الجرافيتي؟ بيقول لك decreases، يبقى على طول air resistance. اوكي. Imagine that jar A contain air while jar B doesn't contain air. يعني هنا كده في air وهنا مفيش air. Choose the correct answer. The two bodies in jar A are affected by gravity force only ولا friction force only ولا air resistance and gravity ولا gravity and electricity؟ قال في air، يبقى أكيد في air resistance and gravity. The two bodies in jar B اللي ما فيهوش air are affected by gravity force only, air resistance only, air resistance and gravity and electricity. في jar B يبقى gravity force only. In jar A the rock reaches faster than the feather because it has. هو هيتكلم عن الروك دلوقتي، فالروك دي has larger surface area ولا higher temperature ولا less mass ولا lower surface area؟ الروك ليها lower surface area، عشان كده وصلت faster than the feather. Put true or false. In jar B The rock will reach first. في جار B الروك reach first. الكلام ده غلط، الاتنين هيوصلوا at the same time. الكلام ده wrong. In jar A, air resistance affects the feather more than the rock during falling downward. أيوة الكلام ده true. In jar A اللي فيه air, the rock falls before the feather due to the absence of air resistance. الكلام ده wrong، فيه air resistance طبعا. كده خلصت الأسئلة يا شباب. أتمنى إن أنتوا كلكم تكونوا حلتوها بصورة صحيحة. أتمنى لكم التوفيق دائما، إلى أن نتقابل على خير في lesson 5. السلام عليكم.